Alex, thank you very much for joining me on the call today. Obviously, we know each other from days and weeks gone by, but what I wanted to ask you to do was just share a little bit about your background and how you got into the world of AI.
Yes, good to see you, Ray, and thanks for giving me the chance to have this chat with you. My background is from a business perspective. It has been for many years in the corporate world. I was in consumer goods at Procter& and Gamble and World Business Alliance. And a lot of my work there was business leadership, but also communication. And I was always fascinated on the leadership front. How do you help people grow? And I was actually, although in P&G I was leading brands in Europe, in UK, and the US, my next job there ended up becoming leading the coaching program for P&G, helping leaders become better at effectively leading their teams. So I had already a lot of passion for that part, for the people part and the communication part. And then after working with Business Alliance, I became an entrepreneur, started investing in businesses, and set up a health tech business with a big partner that was acquired eventually by Holland and Barrett. During that period, I started getting a lot more into technology and data and AI. And I was in an AI conference in 2018 in Silicon Valley when people were talking about the advancements, what's going to change, the impact on jobs. And my one big aha moment was everyone was talking about all the jobs that are going to be affected and potentially, disappear. And I was thinking, like, how could we use AI to actually help us be better at the things that make us uniquely human, so the things that will not be replaced? And that's actually where we got together with my now partner and co-founder at Ovida. And the idea was, could we use AI to help us become better at the fundamentals of being human, and communication and building relationships and rapport is probably one of the most important parts of that. So fast forward, we had a stab at the business at around 19. There was not a lot of video there. And you need video. If you wanted this, you really need to have, like the discussion we're now, to have a full sort of face on a camera, plus words, plus language. So we sort of got a little bit cold feet. But when COVID came through, of course, one of the, COVID was horrible overall, but one of the benefits was that the videos were actually now commonplace, and everyone now is using video, and it's still after COVID we are. So the data was there, and we kickstarted the business. It's called Ovida. And what we're doing is focusing on how to help people have better, deep, trusted discussions. So we're using AI to analyze, to help people self-reflect, to connect them still with humans. We believe that there is a role for humans, very much like sport, right? One of the metaphors that we use quite a lot is, if you want to be an amazing tennis player, right? Of course, you can get an app that will tell you a bunch of things, right? Which is the first step. So you record your games, right? You get an app that will give you data, but actually you still have someone who will help you navigate this data, make sense. What do you need to go and do specifically yourself in order to improve? And ultimately, that's what Ovida does for those deep, trusted discussions. So whether it is financial advice and financial coaching, so this is about building a relationship with someone over a period of years and helping them understand their needs and helping them build the future vision for them and their families, whether it is business coaching or life coaching. We've had also people from the wellness space, and doctors are like those deep, trusted discussions that you really want to extract from your patient the most information you want them to feel listened to. So that's what our niche is. We're really, I would say, currently the only platform focusing on deep, trusted discussions, coaching, of course, financial coaching, psychology, medicine. These are some of the first areas, but more and more also leadership, because the one-on-ones are some of the most important discussions that we're going to have. And the reality is most of the world doesn't know how to do one-on-ones, and people don't feel thrilled or engaged to have them. So how can we help leaders have better one-on-ones, those long-term relationships that need to build with employees? So that's the space, and that's what we have a lot of passion for.
Yeah, brilliant. And having seen your platform myself, I think it's going to add a lot of value in the financial services and wealth management space as well. I'm curious as well, Alex, just zooming out for a minute. What specifically, with regards to sort of having an AI company, what are the biggest challenges that you've faced? How are you overcoming those challenges? What are you seeing in the industry with things like use of data and the direction that's going in as well?
That's a great question. I think I would first start with the issue of security and privacy and data, because that is at the core of what we're doing. And actually, we set out from the beginning to build a platform that is as secure as possible and also as private as possible. We've set up our data management in a way that effectively the people that are being in this discussion, recording them, have control of what's happening with them. So we never share, we never advertise. We cannot even see what's happening really in a discussion unless someone shares this with us. So we can see some, data that's like anonymized data, but we can actually not see the video or what's happening in discussion. Because we wanted to be very, very clear on the privacy and security. We are in the UK registered with the Information Commissioner's Office. We have a data protection officer. So all of these things. Actually, this was the first person we hired in the team was a data protection officer. The data front is very, very important. So being both safe and secure, and also being very clear with people what you're doing with the data and what you're not doing, and operating under the full informed consent principles throughout. I think that's probably, it should be the basis of any AI business. I think apart from that, there's a lot of other challenges around what tools are you using. So we've started already on this journey quite a long time, a couple of years before ChatGPT and large language models that are now ubiquitous. We're using a combination of different tools, and actually choosing and constantly evolving what tools you're using for AI analysis is a very big challenge, because things are moving very, very fast. And there's always a really interesting question as you're running a business, which is, okay, do I invest my resources on something new? Do I stick with what I have that does a good job already? Am I missing out, or should I just wait for another 3 months and move to something better? So I think that's going to be an ongoing challenge for anyone working in AI, but frankly, anyone working in business, because now AI can do things for most businesses that you wouldn't even imagine less than 12 months ago. So I think these are probably the two biggest challenges. So the whole data, privacy, security, what do you do with it? Being very, very clear with your users about how they control the data. And then also, what tools do you apply to keep on evolving super fast? And the speed now, it's literally never been that fast, not just in the history of AI, in the history of business, right? So it's an amazing time to be working on this. At the same time, we need to be very clear and very careful what we're doing, and have a healthy dose of fear. One of the things that we're constantly thinking is that how could what we're doing be used in a bad way, right? And I think anyone who's working in AI needs to be having that in their mind, having the discussions, bringing in advisors and having those debates. Because the reality is there's a lot of potential misuses of AI that are already appearing. And, you don't want to be in a place where you're doing what Facebook did, especially in the beginning, where, they generate something and say, oh, let the world use it. And guess what? The world is using it for lots of horrible things, right? So I think anyone who's working in AI that doesn't have a healthy dose of fear, they're probably missing out on a big part of this. So I think that's also the balance with, hey, what are we doing and what are the potential pitfalls as well?
Yeah, brilliant. Really good to hear that. And to that point, and I guess my last question is, there is a lot of trepidation, a lot of nervousness, a lot of anxiety about, certainly our audience, wealth and investment management professionals, introducing AI into their business. What would you say to those who are thinking about employing AI and incorporating it into their business? And what would you say, it's a two-part question, I guess. What's the second part of that, i.e., what are the concerns or disadvantages anybody who isn't using AI should have if they continue to not use AI?
No. Actually, I'll start with the second one, because I think this is really important. So here's what the current market reality is on this. And in financial services, we are working with one of the largest American organizations, so training effectively people that will have these financial coaching discussions over many, many years. So the reality is, I don't think it's really a choice. I think anyone who's not using AI, some form of co-piloting over the next, I would say minimum 6 months up to a year and a half, they're going to miss out massively. Because the acceleration, even if you do use it for basic tasks, like some people are just using it for, let's say, contracts and reviews and things like that, and reporting and PowerPoints, even that is a 10-15% improvement in the speed that you're doing. Actually, recently, there's been a study done by a bunch of universities, I think MIT and Stanford were in there, where they let consultants from BCG use AI in a group that did not use AI. And the ones that used AI were like 30%, 40% more effective, which is an insane improvement in productivity, right? So first of all, if you're not using AI, you're going to miss out on this productivity, right? So no matter what, you're going to be disadvantaged. So I don't think there's a choice. At the same time, unfortunately, there will, and there already are people that are leaning forward and using it, I think, in a potentially unsafe way. And you cannot do that if you're dealing with deep financial discussions with your clients in this space specifically, right? And I'm still surprised that people say, "Oh, that's fine. We're recording all the discussions on Zoom and then we're uploading it into." You're thinking, "Wait a minute. So you have a discussion that's on your computer, and now you're uploading it somewhere else. Already, this can go wrong in 15 different ways, right?" Mm-hmm. We're just adding this whatever new software to do note taking, and they haven't even read their data terms and conditions, right? And it's really interesting. Like, what do you know that these guys are actually training their machine on your data? And people go like, "Oh no, I haven't read this." So I think you have to use it. You need to jump into this. You need to find businesses that their focus is protecting the data, not business that their focus is advertising or other things. Because by definition, if what I want to do is just collect data to just train and advertise, then guess what? Then I'm not going to be as careful about your privacy. If my business model, which is for Ovida, is to protect your privacy and the data, then my whole business is based on this, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's something about the safety and understanding which tool you're using, being very curious and asking the right questions, reading through the data policies of the businesses that you engage with and asking the questions. I think these are really the most important things.
Amazing. Alex, that's been so useful, even though it's been really short today. Just finally, for everybody who's obviously watching that wants to know a little bit more about Ovida, about you, can you just let us know where the best place to find you is and to engage with you?
Sure, absolutely. So it's ovida.io or ovida.io. You can also look me up on LinkedIn. So it's Alex Haitoglou on LinkedIn. I don't think there's that many, so I think you'll just find me there. And I'd love for people to come in and just join and tell us what they think about our product and how maybe we can work together.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you, man. Cheers.